that just because the funeral's over doesn't mean that grief is, right? Like it's something that it can hit in a moment, right? It might be a day. It might be seeing something that reminds you of that person. Might be a song, might be just a memory that will pop in your head, and you see that, and it's instant. This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate MarriageCast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Welcome to episode 152. You probably saw the title that today's episode is about walking through grief together with your spouse. And Ryan, we kind of say this a lot, that we don't necessarily know our content super far in advance because it's always fresh. It's fresh weekly downloads. And then whatever situation or season we're going through, we take that current situation and turn that into a show. So we hadn't planned for this, but guessing by the title, you could probably figure out what our show is and what lived experience we went through this week. So here we are with the show, and we decided to be super timely since we're walking through this together to turn it into an episode. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome. Michelle, this is an interesting topic, and I think grief is something that often isn't talked about, and I think especially...
I don't think we've ever talked about it on the show.
No, but I think with men, like especially, it's really hard. I think men tend to be fixers, and the problem with grief is it's not something to be fixed, right? It's more of a journey. It's a process.
Which is like against the grain of how you're kind of wired as a fixer.
Yeah. And so, to start this off, as Michelle said, I feel like there's fresh things that happen all the time. And this past weekend, my uncle passed away. And it's been just that. There's been a lot of grief. He was a very special person in my life, and it's been really difficult, and it's been really difficult to walk through this journey of grief and to deal with emotions and deal with what this feels like.
Yeah, and we'll have to share some kind of a fun memory of Uncle Kelly's, but you lived next door to him. Ryan grew up on a farm, and this family was on the same really plot of land as you. So their family was really like extended siblings of yours, in a way. You guys had 3 boys, or your parents had 3 boys. They had 3 girls, and fourth one came later. But you guys did everything together. Yeah. So he really was like a second dad to you in ways. So we wanted to share 6 tips for walking through grief with your spouse. And I think, so the real life marriage part comes in that we actually had a pretty big disagreement about just how to walk through this week. And part of me, I feel really selfish sharing this story and really vulnerable, but I will. So we had, as we were trying to figure out, when the funeral might be, it was looking like it might be Friday or Saturday, and we had accepted wedding invitations to a wedding for Saturday. And I had just made the comment that, you guys, this sounds so ridiculous saying it on air, but that maybe we could do both. Like if the funeral is in the morning, maybe we could still go to the wedding. And that did not go over well. And looking back, I can see now the shoe being on the other foot. I can see how that was very hurtful. But it was how I was feeling. And the longing in my heart was really to go and support these people who are getting married, who I have poured into and invested in, and just the start of their next chapter. So that's kind of where it came in, is that Ryan is grieving the loss of kind of, the second father figure. And I'm now kind of grieving that, we won't we won't be able to go to this wedding that we'd been looking forward to. So neither one of us were trying to hurt the other. But grief, I would say, just kind of exposed some pieces that we then walked through and processed through. And that's what this show is about, is 6 tips that we have been walking through this week.
Yeah. Michelle, I love what the Bible says, Ecclesiastes 3:1-4. There's a time to weep and a time to mourn. And grief isn't something that you rush through. And I think the interesting part that we've learned is grief looks different for everyone, right? One spouse might cry, one might shut down, one person might need to talk to process, and your spouse may be very different than you when it comes to this. One spouse might want people around, the other might want some space.
Sure.
And none of these are wrong. And I think that's the important thing as I think about how I'm process. I very much, and we've shared this, I am a processor, like slow. I need to think, I need to reflect, I need to do all of these things. And so it's a challenge at times for me to deal with this, because it requires me sitting and processing.
I think even in the case of our disagreement, that I kind of sprung that on you, and you didn't have time to fully process first reality, what had happened, and then what I was asking, and that just led to the disagreement.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leads me into the second point, and I don't have a really good word for this, but I'm going to say this. So love may look inconvenient, and that's probably not the best word, but that's the word that I have. So I think what you experience in grief, first of all, know that your spouse didn't plan this. They didn't plan for someone that they love to pass away, but that there will be moments of changing your plans that don't feel convenient. But I think that it's just healthy to process that together, Ryan. So knowing that, hey, we can just be real with how I'm feeling. I wanted to go to that wedding, and I truly am sad that for a while, it seemed like we weren't going to be able to make it. And it's okay to acknowledge that. Yeah. Like, here are these plans. Maybe for you, it's, a trip that you had planned, or whatever it is. A getaway or a work event or anything, birthday, holiday. You may have had the best laid plans. And I think it's okay to actually grieve that those things are changing too in the midst of this other grief. But then process and talk through that together. So marriages often ask us to lay down something and to really be that selfless love. And I think that Jesus models this so well that nothing was convenient for him. It wasn't convenient for him to go to the cross, but he laid down his life because he so loved. Yeah. And I think in marriage, there will be times where you need to lay down your plans because you love your spouse. So I think the more that you can just be upfront with how you're feeling, hey, I am sad that we're not going to be able to do this, or that this is now changing the course of whatever. I even think of, this isn't necessarily grief, but my friend Sarah, her parents were in a really major car accident, and there was a lot of laying down of plans to then love her parents and serve her parents through it. There was a ultra marathon that had to get canceled. There were vacations. There were things that had to happen, but those were out of love.
Yeah, Michelle, that's such a good word. I do think that's the inconvenience. I think that word is. I feel like it's spot on.
Though, because okay.
Yeah, it.
I don't want to say that him passing was like, oh, it wasn't on my timetable. It's just, thank you for getting where I'm going.
Right, there. But I love that picture of laying down something because of this. Mm. And I think that's such a beautiful, beautiful picture. Not that the event was inconvenient. That's not it. But it's the laying down and saying, okay, because I love you, because I know what this meant to you, I'm going to lay this down.
Yeah.
And I think that's the picture that I think is so beautiful.
Yeah. And I'm guessing people will probably see us at this wedding and think, oh my gosh, she didn't do what she said. The funeral actually is the day prior. So we had resolved, we had made amends and everything was good. And then it just so happened that things had changed. Yeah. So anyways, it did all work out, but we were planning to not go if it was going to be on Saturday. So so that's number 2.
Yeah, Michelle, number 3, this is such an interesting one, and it's don't compare losses. Now, what I mean by that is, I know exactly how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not the same. Okay, I understand the intention behind it is to connect, to relate.
Did you get that when you lost Megan? Did people ever say that, and did it rub wrong?
Yeah. I mean, that's one that I lost so and so, or I lost so and so. And it and again, the intention is so pure. Like I mean, I can acknowledge that now, but in the moment, like it's like sandpaper. Like it's tough because
there's so many things that make each situation unique that it's really impossible for them to know exactly what you're feeling in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, some of the best things that I've heard is, hey, I don't know. I don't know what this is like, but I'm here. I'm here for you. I can do whatever. Like, honestly, like that was for me one of, I think, the best things that I've ever heard.
Yeah, I love that. Just our presence.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, Ryan. And that leads us into the 4th one. So it's just asking your spouse, what do you need? Like, love, what do you need from me this week? What can I do for you? Yeah. Just checking in.
Yeah. And Michelle, you have been so great with this. Actually, you wrote the show, which is fantastic. You know that my brain is going just 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. I think it came to you on Monday. Usually Tuesdays when you write shows, that's our Tuesday night. We joked last week, if you ever wonder what the O'Connors are doing on a Tuesday night, we are absolutely 100% writing a podcast.
Yeah.
And Monday, so he passed on Sunday. And maybe I even told you Sunday. I don't know when I told you, but pretty early on. Yeah. I said, hey, I just want you to know, like, I'll take care of the show, show this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, and maybe that's space. Maybe it's jumping in and doing more chores. Maybe it's pulling a little more weight with the kids, whatever that looks like. Just touch base with your spouse and see, like, what do you need? What do you need from me? How can I help?
Yeah. Number 5, Michelle, is that grief has no schedule. And
what do you mean by that?
I think this is a really important one for, I'm going to say men in particular, that just because the funeral's over doesn't mean that grief is, right? Like it's something that it can hit in a moment, right? It might be a day. It might be seeing something that reminds you of that person. Might be a song, might be just a memory that will pop in your head. And
sure, like holiday or even death anniversary or birthdays or anything.
Michelle, I think of this for you. Your dad loved Coca-Cola. We have a Coca-Cola bottle on our mantle above our fireplace.
Oh my gosh, my eyes are just welling up. Like you just even talking about it.
And you see that, and it's instant, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's as I think
Coca-Cola bears at Christmas or seeing like the nostalgic, the glass bottles for sure are just direct flashbacks.
Yeah.
You don't even expect it. You're walking along and then it's like Christmas and Coca-Cola bear and your eyes swell up and you're like, oh my gosh, there's like grief from all these years ago.
Yeah. And I just, there's so much of that happens. We were we had gone down to see my aunt and my cousins, and it's just, driving by a cornfield, and it hit me, and it was just like, man,
where he farmed.
Where my dad and him farmed, and it hit me, and it hit me differently than it did before then. We were picking up some items for the family, just like some snacks, some grab, water, stuff like that they could just grab, on the go. And, his favorite beverage was in the store. And again, it hit me.
Yeah.
It hit me so hard. And it's so, each of these things, there's no schedule, and it's going to hit. And I think to be able to realize that and to process that and to talk with your spouse about this is really important.
Yeah, that's great, Ryan. And I certainly appreciate that so much. And you know me so well that, I think it was last Christmas, a Coca-Cola truck was in town with the Bears, and I just took a picture of it, and I think I got a little, sentimental, and you just knew. Like, I didn't have to tell you why I was quiet in that moment. You just knew.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really special thing, just when you can be attuned with your spouse like that too, and just get it.
Yeah.
You just know to just be a little gentle.
Yeah.
Gentler in that moment, and just have space for that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
that's a great one. So grief has no schedule. That leads us to number 6, which is our final tip for walking through grief with your spouse, is just be there. Ryan, you talked about this earlier, how one of the best things that people could do for you when you lost Megan is that just saying, I'm here. I'm so sorry. Love you. I'm here. We'll get through this.
Yeah.
We'll get through it together. And silence is okay too, but just your presence, maybe it's just sitting side by side on the couch together or on your bed together, and just being there.
Yeah.
Giving them a hug.
Yeah.
Just being there.
Yeah. Michelle, I'm going to share just a bonus one that I think comes with that though. And it's extending grace. Extending grace to your spouse. You've never lost, like, this is all, it's all a first, right? Like, we've never walked through this losing this person, losing
your Uncle Kelly,
my Uncle Kelly, and like this. So this is all new. This is new for me. It's new for you, but I know that we're on the same team, and I know that you would not say anything to deliberately hurt me in this moment. And so it's extending you grace, knowing that you are there to walk through this with me.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird to say that, but it's also, I think it's super important to know that and to just know that you have my back.
Yeah. Ryan, can we just pray right now for Kelly, your Uncle Kelly, but also for our listeners that are going through grief right now?
Yeah.
I'm just feeling prompted.
Yeah.
Father God, we thank you for Ryan's Uncle Kelly. We thank you for his life and his legacy. And God, we know that we have listeners right now that are going through some stuff. We know that there are people listening right now that have lost someone dear to them, whether it's a friend or a sister or brother or a cousin, an aunt or an uncle, a mother, a father, or a spouse, maybe a child. God, I'm actually thinking about I know that there are people in these situations right now, personally. And God, I lift them up to you. God, we know that you are the ultimate peace and comforter. And we just pray that today our listeners would have just a peace wash over them, that they would just have a moment where they would just feel your presence and know that things might be really hard right now, but they are not alone. They're not alone because they have you, and you are a good God, even if the circumstances right now don't feel good. So God, I just pray that they would turn to you, they would cling to you, and you would just give them a feeling of peace, even if it's just for this moment or this day, God, that they would just start to feel that and know that they are not in this alone. Amen.
Amen.
Ryan, I think that, go ahead.
No, Michelle, I think it's really, really important. I think for our listeners to hear this, that grief isn't evidence of weak faith. It's really evidence that we love. And I think Jesus demonstrates that.
I appreciate that.
John 11:35, it's Jesus wept, right? Even knowing the outcome, Jesus entered into the sorrow because he loved.
Yeah. I appreciate that because I feel like sometimes the church can say like, hey, they're with Jesus moving along, but like if you really loved somebody and they made a really huge impact on you, like I think it's okay to take those sorrows to God.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely 100% agree, Michelle.
Were you going to say that too? Like I feel like sometimes
it's so important that's it. Again, I'm going to say it again. Grief isn't evidence of weak faith. It's evidence that we love. And that's who God is. God is love. And I think it's so important to understand that and to have that concept and to not dismiss your grief, because I think oftentimes, especially men, we do that. And it's okay to have that. It's just evidence that we've loved.
Yeah. That's a good word, right?
And that's okay.
I appreciate that. And for our listeners, you may be walking through a different type of grief and maybe a person, but maybe you're grieving the end of a dream that you had or a different season of life or just something that is not the desire of your heart and you're grieving the loss of that. So this week, we just pray that you would be able to connect with your spouse and to walk through that journey with them together. Turn to God and walk through it with your spouse.
Yeah. Wow.
So thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us today on the Celebrate MarriageCast. We have resources at Celebrate.church/marriage. We also would love to have you visit us either in person or online, and you can find that information at Celebrate.church. We're on YouTube and Instagram as well. Have a great week.
Have a great week.